Hello there, my name is Erin. I have this channel where I do like what I eat in days and stuff. I've lost 77 pounds in the last 2 years, and today I thought I would do something different, kind of talk about how to get started. I've had some questions about that, so here I am. I do want to put in a disclaimer. I am not a professional. I'm not a doctor, a nutritionist. I have 0 certifications for any of this. Please do not take what I say at face value or as fact. I can only give you my experiences and what I did. And you can take that and do with it what you can to inspire or motivate yourself. Tips I feel comfortable giving people. I'm not going to tell you what to eat or what exercises to do. I can only give you some ideas. I was the person on the other side of the screen watching so many other people try and figure this out and eating what they ate, hoping that I would have the same results, only to be disappointed. So I do get it, but it just doesn't work like that. Everybody is different, and this was really hard for me to learn. But you have to find what works for you. Weight Watchers works for me. Eating in a calorie deficit when that isn't working works for me. Maybe both of them will stop working one day and I'll try something different. I'm constantly changing, constantly trying to figure this out. And I feel like that's the best way to go about doing it, is trying to figure it out for yourself, because everyone is different and everybody's body is different and everyone's appetite is different and their likes and their dislikes, and what works for them is going to be different from what works for someone else. Yeah. And be careful what you guys see online. When you're watching influencers and stuff, don't take what they say at face value, because people are not always genuine and they're not always honest. And I will do my best to be honest with you, but again, I'm not a professional. Yeah, I felt like I should say that firsthand, because I don't want to hurt anyone by doing any of this, because that at all is not my intention. You should see your doctor. It's easier said than done. Gosh knows it was really difficult for me, but you should see your doctor and see what works for you. So I encourage you to do that. This is unscripted. I've got basically a list of stuff I want to talk about, and I'm just going to be talking. I'm going to try and move kind of quickly so this video isn't astronomically long. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. As I said, I've lost 77 pounds. I'm not going to go into like a detailed explanation of how I got there or how I started. Just know that 2 years ago, a lot of stuff happened that really motivated me to take this seriously, to take my journey seriously. One of the big things was I broke my back by falling down a few steps. It should not have happened. And a huge contributing factor was my weight. I was 319 pounds that I had seen on the scale. It could have been more than that. It honestly likely was. But I had lost some weight from the recovery. And so when that happened and I finally was able to get back on the scale, I was 319. It was shocking, even though I had known. Still confronting it on the scale was really shocking. And so I changed a lot of things that day. And one of the biggest things that I changed was evaluating my diet at the time and really doing everything I could to research the foods that I was eating and what I could easily change to make things better. So the first thing I want to tell you guys, the biggest piece of advice I can give you, is that this happened 2 years ago. It has taken me 2 years to lose 77 pounds, a lot of ups and downs in between. So I had to confront myself and realize that this was not going to happen fast for me. I grew up around diet culture. My entire family dieted. I have tried so many diets in the past from when I was very young. So this was a big deal for me 2 years ago when I realized for the first time that I was not going to lose weight overnight. It was going to take time, and it was going to take a whole lot of effort. And I can tell you it's worth it. It is worth it, but it was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow. But it is not, there is no quick fix. Like, even if you have surgery or one of the other things that you can do, it's just a tool. Those are only tools. And some of my family members have had gastric bypass. Like, And I've watched them go up and down just like I have had the last 2 years, and I had no surgery or pills or anything that helped me do that. No matter what avenue you choose, it's going to be difficult and it's going to take time. And so realizing that this is going to take time is one of the biggest things I can tell you. Set your expectations and don't give yourself impossible goals, because that you're setting yourself up for failure if you do that. I can remember the day that I lost 22 pounds and I got on the scale and realized for the first time that I weighed less than 300 pounds. I stood on that scale and I told myself that I was never going to weigh 300 pounds again. And that helped me stay on track for the last 2 years. Because even if I never lost another pound, I knew I wasn't going to weigh 300 pounds again. And I've kept that mantra up as I've gone on, even as I've had setbacks and hit plateaus and gained some weight back. The thing that kept me from spiraling is knowing that I was capable of so much more, and I would not let myself get back to as unhealthy as I was. So set realistic goals, realize it's going to take some time, and take little baby steps. Don't jump into this if you can help it. But if you are like me and you do kind of want to go out and get everything you can to help yourself, and you're watching all these videos to prepare yourself, because gosh knows that's what I did. So if you're like me, I do want to talk about what you can do and get right now that will help you if you want to start today. And the first thing I want to say is get a food diary, or get an app to track your food, or write a list of what you've eaten yesterday. I keep a food diary. I have the Weight Watchers app that is my food diary, but I also have a journal. I was not a journal person before this, but in the last 2 years, I did learn to kind of keep track, not of what I'm eating in that journal, but how I'm feeling, what I'm doing that is working and what I'm doing that I feel like is not working. This paired with my food diary in the Weight Watchers app or in my calorie deficit app really helped me kind of realize the foods that I was putting in my body and the toll they were taking on me. I can remember the first time I used an app and I scanned like cheese, realizing like how like just terrible, not cheese, but that brand was, that type of cheese. And then realizing the alternatives that I could have instead. And so I do think it's important to do some research, keep a food journal or food diary, and arm yourself with the knowledge of what you're putting in your body. And then just, if you like keeping track of your food, explore a regular journal. This is my journal for everything. I've got a calendar in it. It's my journal for all things in life. But I also keep my weight loss stuff in here. I keep track of my scale weigh-in days. In here, I keep track of my measurements. I keep track of how I'm feeling. I'm keeping track of my exercise. Not like too much. It's just, I check in with myself in this journal every once in a while. I decorate it. I'm not going to show you guys all of it. But I've got like some stickers and things, and just to make it fun and give me that serotonin boost when I open it. But I do think it's important to track your food, especially when you're just starting out. Track your food. The next thing I want to say is I want to talk about the scale. I'm not going to be the person that tells you not to go buy a scale. The scale is your friend, but it can also be your enemy. I want to say that I have struggled with the scale for the last 2 years on a level that I didn't think I could. I've gone through periods of time where I was on the scale every morning. I've gone through periods of time where I was getting on the scale after every single meal multiple times a day. I've gotten on a scale where I would not let myself get on the scale for weeks at a time. I have a very rocky relationship with the scale. I do still think it's important to keep track of what you're doing, but I try to only check in with the scale once a week. My weigh-in days are Saturday mornings because I can sleep in Saturday mornings and I know I won't be in a rush when I wake up, so I have the time to log it. So that's my weigh-in day, are Saturday mornings. So if you're going to get a scale, I encourage you to pick a weigh-in day to try to get control of it, or to try to set boundaries for yourself right away. If you don't want to get a scale, you can check in at the doctor. I know I had a lot issue doing that. I know a lot of people that have issues like I did wouldn't go to the doctor. So another way you can do it is if you're going to your local gym, you can, a lot of times they have a scale. You don't need a scale though. There are other types of measurements you can take to kind of keep track. And a lot of that is through a measuring tape. You can measure your arms and your chest and your hips and your belly and all of that. And there are videos online that can teach you how to do that. You don't need a scale. I didn't do the measuring in the beginning. I did the scale, and part of me kind of wishes that I had done the measuring, because it would have been that one more thing I could look back on to kind of keep track of how far I've come. Which leads me to the next thing that I do think you should do, and I do think is very hard, but if you do face it, it will be worth it. And I think that is to take pictures. If you're going to start, go take pictures. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Take pictures of your face, take pictures of yourself in different angles, take pictures of yourself, your body, take pictures of yourself in an outfit that you want to put up and try on in a year and see how far you've come. Pictures are the number one way you can measure how far you've come. Looking back on my pictures, it is the only way that I can really judge all of the work that I've put in, because I don't always see it in the mirror. So I am very grateful for the photos I took, but they were hard to take. It was really, really difficult to confront myself and take those photos, but I am grateful that I did. And it is still hard for me, but I still do it because I know now how grateful I'll be later on to have taken them. Next thing I want to talk about is an exercise plan. I was that person that was researching videos of how to lose weight as a couch potato. How can I lose weight without exercise? I would put that in the search bar. You can't. You can't lose weight sedentary, or you could, but it would be incredibly unhealthy or incredibly restricting, and you don't restrict yourself too much because it is counterproductive. But you also don't have to go overboard. You don't have to work yourself into a frenzy to lose weight. 30 minutes a day. Move your body for 30 minutes a day, whether that's going for a walk, doing some stretches, do some yoga. If you want to go to the gym, go to the gym. I go to the gym sometimes. Sometimes I just walk. Right now, I'm in a season of life where I love to walk. And so that's what I'm doing. I just go for a walk and make sure that I'm moving my body, especially because I work at home and I sit in this chair so long. I am very sedentary otherwise. So for me personally, I shoot for longer than 30 minutes now, but when I started, that 30 minutes was hard. That 30 minutes was so difficult to hit, but that 30 minutes paid off. And so that's what I started with. I just started walking. Only I did it on the treadmill because walking outside seemed astronomical. It seemed like I couldn't handle it. Now I prefer it. So explore some things. You can look up on YouTube. There's all kinds of videos. You can dance. I've danced. I don't like to see myself dance, and I forbid my husband and my son from coming into the room when I'm dancing, but there's some fun videos online that you can do, and you get to dance with the instructor. So I do encourage you to look at some stuff online, follow along with some videos or something. It can be fun. It doesn't have to make you miserable. You just have to find what you like. I personally love the Stairmaster at the gym. Never in a million years thought that that would come out of my mouth. It is one of my favorite machines. I do it to the point where I shouldn't do it because my legs hurt too bad the next day. But it's fun for me somehow. And I never would have known that if I hadn't been trying new things and trying to find the one thing that I enjoy doing. I like setting goals for myself. I like hitting 100 floors. It took me so long to get there, but it was so fun to build up to it. So yeah, get yourself an exercise plan. It will help so much. So a lot of people now will say to get a buddy. I've heard it a lot of times. Get an exercise friend. I am of the mind, I don't necessarily believe, not only is that necessary, but I'm actually kind of against it. And the reason that is because for so many years, I would hang up my weight loss journey on the fact that I had no partner. No one could do it with me, and I couldn't do it myself. I was terrified to go into the gym. Still to this day, I'm afraid sometimes. I didn't want to go on walks by myself. I didn't want to do anything by myself. Why would I eat so healthy when everyone else around me was eating the foods that I really wanted? You know, I always have an excuse for myself. And one day when I would eventually find that person that would go with me to the gym and make things easier for me, that was bad, because the minute that they stopped or they hit a hurdle, it was an excuse for me to stop. I would use it as an excuse. My sister did it with me one time. And if she went to McDonald's, if she went, I might as well go. That's ridiculous. I should have never treated it that way. You can't, and that's no one's fault. It's not her fault. That's my own fault. You can't rely on other people to get you where you need to go. You need to rely on yourself. And when I relied on other people to go with me to the gym and something came up and they couldn't go, well, then I'm not going to go. Well, that's an excuse. Well, I'll just skip it today. That is not a good mindset for me. So I'm not going to suggest to get a buddy. If that is for you, sure, go for it. But for me, it was very counterproductive. To this day it is. I needed to do this for myself. I needed to rely only on myself. I needed to confront myself. And so I learned to do all of this on my own. And that is like, I have so much pride in that. I have so much pride in the fact that I was able to do this alone. Okay, let's talk about the food. Food is hard. There's a lot of conflicting information out there. It would be easy for me to say, well, you don't need to spend a lot of money to lose weight. But I would be lying in a sense, because you can lose weight eating the foods that are not as healthy for you. I could have lost weight eating the foods that I was eating 2 years ago. But looking at it, it would be eating much, much smaller portions of those things. And when you're starting out, as heavy as I was, your appetite is so much bigger than it is right now for me. Like, my appetite was so much bigger than it is now. I couldn't get away with eating small portions. I felt so hungry, and I would make myself so miserable doing that. If my husband and my son was eating frozen pizza, I could have just a piece of pizza. That's not enough food. So my option now is to make my own pizza with 2-ingredient dough. Plain fat-free Greek yogurt and self-rising flour. And then I have my tomato sauce and my fat-free cheddar and my turkey pepperonis. I know now how to do that, so I can feel included in the meal with them, eating a healthier version of what they're eating. That frozen pizza they're eating is a fraction of the price of the one that I'm eating, because I needed flour, spaghetti sauce, fat-free cheddar cheese, which is expensive, and fat-free Greek yogurt, depending on the brand, is expensive. So the turkey pepperonis, you have to buy everything for that. So it is more expensive to eat healthier and enjoy the food. It is more expensive to eat healthier and feel as full as you can be. Produce costs more money. Fruits cost more money. Lean meats cost so much more than fattier meats. So it would be ridiculous to me to tell you that it doesn't cost more money to lose weight, because that is a lie. But what I can tell you is budgeting for that and looking for alternatives and swapping out what you can swap out does make a difference. And it is worth it to put in the extra effort. The way that I shop for lean meats is I look for manager specials. I go to multiple stores. I read the paper. I look for the deals. It's a pain. It takes up time. But I buy in bulk and I freeze it. And that is the best way that I can buy lean meats. Vegetables, I don't always buy fresh vegetables. I buy frozen vegetables. Most of the time I'm putting my veggies in pastas and things to bulk them up. Lettuce I buy fresh, and sometimes mushrooms and onions. But even mushrooms and onions I buy frozen. So you could save a lot more money buying frozen things. I can't recommend buying frozen fruits. I just can't do it for me personally. I don't like the texture. I just can't. But I don't eat a lot of fruits, because going back and forth from Weight Watchers to eating in a calorie deficit, I have learned the sugar content in fruits and how they can be counterproductive as a 0-point food on Weight Watchers. So I have learned to steer away. Sometimes I'll have a banana, sometimes I'll have an apple, but I don't go crazy. So I don't really buy a lot of fruits. Mostly I buy strawberries in there for my son. Because that's like him, he'll eat the apples and the bananas I eat, and then he'll eat strawberries. But yeah, frozen vegetables, look for specials for meat. You know, there are options. You gotta do some research and look for them. And they're not always the best options. Sometimes you can only get canned tuna and canned chicken breast, but it is better than having a can of tuna is better than having a can of Chef Boyardee, you know? So there are options. It's just, it can be really hard sometimes. I've had multiple times in the last 2 years where I had to really, really look for the deals. But I did it, and it was worth it in the end. Last couple things I want to talk about is mainly just have grace for yourself. Give yourself a break. You're going to fall down. You're going to mess up. Make mistakes. I have done it so many times in the last 2 years. I have hit so many stalled points. I've gained weight. I've just been sick of it and wanted and needed a break. That's going to happen. But I just picked myself up again, and that's all you can do. I don't like cheat meals anymore. That's like one of the things that bothers me, because I used to always have cheat meals, and I would use it as an excuse to eat whatever I wanted. I don't do that anymore. Instead, I just allow myself to enjoy the moment sometimes. For Halloween, we celebrated with my son. We had some Halloween candy, and I had Domino's pizza with my son and my husband. The way that I did that, though, was I had 0-point foods during the day leading up to it, and I didn't overeat the pizza. I allowed myself a serving of pizza, and I allowed myself a couple pieces of candy. And I didn't feel guilt afterwards, because the next morning I picked myself right back up, went on a walk, and just ate like nothing had happened. My husband and I had a date night the other night. I wanted to have a good night, and so I didn't think too much on what I was eating. We just ordered some things we wanted to try, and I told my self-control and didn't eat over a portion of what I should be eating, and I enjoyed myself. Now that is something I've had to learn over the last 2 years. Learning portion control, learning self-control. That doesn't happen overnight. I messed up so many times in the beginning. My appetite, again, was so much bigger than it is now. So that's going to take some time. That's why I encourage you to bulk up your foods with vegetables. I bulk up everything. I bulk it up with protein. Eat a lot of protein. Protein is going to help you stay full longer. Healthy fats. Yeah, focus on that. My main proteins are fish and lean ground turkey meat and chicken breast. And I make sure that that's what I'm eating for meals. I have some sort of protein in every single meal. If it's not a meat, it's cottage cheese or yogurt. Or eggs. I make sure I have protein for every meal. Don't punish yourself. Again, this leads back to you're going to make mistakes. I used to punish myself so much, and I wish I could go back to that person now and give her a hug, because I was not being fair on myself. This is hard. And yeah, I can see people online that do it faster than me and easier than me. And before, when I couldn't do it at all, I would see them doing it, and I would hate myself for not being able to do it too. But I love myself so much more now, and I know I'm capable of so much more. But I'm just on my own time frame. I'm on my own journey. Mine is not going to look like someone else's. So that's what I have for you guys today. I tried to keep it short and sweet. I would love to do a video of specifically my story and how I got to where I am now. I need to get my thoughts together for that, though. And I am working on a video on my favorite Weight Watcher foods, as well as I eat the same foods in a calorie deficit. I can't tell you what diet to choose. And I won't tell you. Weight Watchers worked for me. Calorie deficit worked for me. Nothing else I have tried worked for me. But a lot of that had to do with whether I was ready for them to work for me. I'm ready for it now. I have been for the last 2 years, and so it was working. Maybe if I was doing keto, that would have worked also. I don't think so much time should be spent on trying to choose the perfect diet. I think you should try everything. Try a little of everything. See what works for you. I tried Weight Watchers at the right time and it worked. I tried it with the right motivation and it worked. I did the same eating in a calorie deficit. I feel like any diet could work, but is it the right one for you? And you won't know that until you do some research and try it out. I would like to try keto one day. I've tried it in the past, but again, it was when I wasn't taking life seriously and I had a million excuses for myself. But one day I might try it again. For me, I'm ever changing. I'm always trying new things because I will not be 300 pounds again. And so I will do what I have to do to change things up so I do not become stagnant and I do not become bored and I make life exciting and I reach my goals. And so I do that by trying new things. So I encourage you to try new things. And through that, you will find the diet you should be on. Whatever diet it is, it's just a tool. There are so many factors involved in losing weight. Food, of course, is the biggest one, but any diet will work. It's just, is that diet healthy for you? Is that diet encouraging for you? Is that diet enjoyable for you? And so all you can do is try different things until you come to the right one. So I'm here. I do what I eat in a days right now while I'm eating on Weight Watchers. And I plan on doing some other videos, but I'm here to encourage you. This is my online diary, the way that I keep myself accountable. And I hope you come and hang out with me sometimes. I am working up the courage to be more communicative in the comments. It's difficult sometimes when you kind of like bluntly realize people are watching you online. But yeah, I'm here and there's some other pretty awesome people here. And so if you need that encouragement, if you need that push, you know where to find me.